Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another edition of the DVD Shelf Foreign Flicks, the show that would rather high-five a good movie than swing an axe at a bad one. Every movie I feature is one that I enjoy, however, not all films are created equal, which is why I will use this scale to rate them. For today's episode, I thought I would show that non-English speaking countries can make ensemble cast-driven criminal comedies too. That's right, it's time for me to review the 2012 Dutch film, Blackout. Have you ever gotten so drunk that you can't remember what happened the night before, and yet you know it couldn't have been good? It could be that your car is missing, or perhaps you lost your friend the day before his wedding. Well, for retired criminal Jos, it is much worse as he wakes up the day before his wedding with no memory of the night before, and a corpse in the bed next to him. Before he can even figure out who the dead guy is, Jos is blamed for the theft of 20 kilos of cocaine from the psychotic Russian gangster Vlad, who is a former ballet dancer turned bowling alley owner. And Jos has been given until the end of the day to return it, or else his bride-to-be will suffer the consequences. Simultaneously, his former boss Charles, a wheelchair-bound old man nicknamed Grandpa who lives in a retirement home, gives Jos 24 hours to bring him that same cocaine. Desperate to figure out what happened and protect his fiancée, Jos dives back into the criminal underworld, calling on old friends and contacts to not only seek answers as to what happened the night before, but to find the drugs needed to keep the violent gangsters at bay. Along the way, he'll have to deal with a pair of sisters that are Grandpa's violent enforcers, the police detective obsessed with putting him away, a couple of low-level criminals in over their heads, a suspenders-wearing drug dealer, and a lawyer intent on blackmailing Jos that is also his soon-to-be father-in-law. Blackout is almost what it would be like if Guy Ritchie and Quentin Tarantino co-wrote and directed The Hangover. There is some pop culture and Tarantino-esque dialogue, including a moment where a couple of Tarantino films are talked about, and much like in Ritchie's Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which I previously reviewed, we have low-level criminals, violent gangsters, and quirky, unique characters whose stories all begin to intertwine as we near the climax of the film.
Be with you in a minute.
And perhaps that is one of the biggest flaws with this movie. I almost felt like they were trying too hard to be a Guy Ritchie movie, with all of the double crosses and converging storylines, but they didn't do enough to make us care about any of the characters past Jos.
This is so amateuristic.
Too many of the characters aren't given enough screen time nor development to make us like or even dislike them. So, when something happens to them, good or bad, it doesn't have as much of an impact as it could. Additionally, some of the double crosses don't feel earned. It's hard to fully explain without giving away spoilers, but let's just say that some of the characters' relationships are portrayed as deep-rooted and close, only to be casually chucked aside for money and drugs.
Opium is tegenwoordig de religie van het volk.
Ultimately, this was a solid effort that could have used some more polishing. The directing works well and the acting is spot on, but where it really suffers is that it just doesn't properly utilize its unique cast of characters, focusing so much on Jos that everyone else is background noise, and they just don't have enough time to shine. There's also some good dark humor at work, and some interesting twists, coincidences, and double crosses, but they don't always feel earned. While I find it an enjoyable film, it just doesn't compare to other films of its kind, so I give it a 3. Give it a rent sometime for a fun criminal comedy from the Netherlands that has some missed potential, but is still enjoyable as is. Now, the Blu-ray release for this film is a pretty weak release, with the most notable features being one of the shorts the director made prior to this film, called Oh Dear. It is an amusing little film that follows 3 separate groups as their stories begin to intertwine after some misunderstandings and coincidences in the woods.
Oh dear.
Past that, there is only a trailer and a blooper reel, which is pretty mediocre, mainly featuring people messing up their lines rather plainly. Well, that'll do it for this episode. For the DVD Shelf Foreign Flicks, this is Ernie McCracken reminding you not to give counterfeit money to gangsters.
Hey, David Rose here. Hope you enjoyed that video because there are plenty more where that came from. And we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and clicked on the notifications icon so you can get all of our latest content. Which reminds me, I should probably go make some.